The geographic Anthony Burgess. I've been asked if I wouldn't mind providing a brief introduction to the Malay Peninsula geography of Anthony Burgess, and I'm delighted to oblige. Burgess's travels on the Malay Peninsula were as follows. He and his wife, after he himself had spent a night of whoring in Singapore, took the night train to Ipoh. And this train takes the following route through Sungai there. And by the time they got to Tapa Road, they would have woken up, possibly with hangovers. Moves into Kampar there, past the town of Kota Baharu, not of course to be confused with Kota Baru, up into Belanja, and finally arriving in Ipoh. At Ipoh, they alighted from the Singapore train and dined at the station restaurant. They had bacon and eggs. And then a short time after their meal, we don't know anything about its quality, presumably it was restorative. Possibly Burgess had one of his little mixtures of brands, chicken essence and brandy to keep his spirits up. They then took the slow train around, as you can see here, to Kuala Kangsar. And here Burgess was to spend a year or so teaching at the Malay College. The road north of Kuala Kangsar was at that time a dangerous route, and this is the road that Nabi Adams wished to use to seek out little kadais where he could open accounts, to have a quiet beer with Aladad Khan. This guy's real name was Donald Dunkley. The episode in Time for a Tiger where they are ambushed is no doubt set on this dangerous road north of Kuala Kangsar. Though I also believe, I think it's almost certain, because it is mentioned in Burgess's writings, that the couple, Burgess and Lim, will have visited at least once the Cameron Highlands, which is a hill resort favoured traditionally by the British. That accounts for Burgess and Lim's Kuala Kangsar experience. After his year or so in Kuala Kangsar, Burgess was to be transferred to Kota Baru on the east coast, as we know. How did Burgess, Lin and Lalage, the cat, travel from Kuala Kangsar to Kota Baru? Well, it wasn't by road, it was entirely by air, probably for good security reasons. They will have once again returned to Ipoh. Incidentally, they often went back and forth to Ipoh, presumably to do shopping and paperwork and things of this kind. For example, Burgess had a health scare at some stage, lung health scare, I think, and he saw a doctor in Ipoh. So I think that rail route was obviously pretty safe, and they went back and forth there. So for the last time they went back to Ipoh, to the airfield there, the airport, Ipoh Airport, and flew from there by Malayan Airways up over parts of the danger zone to Penang Island. Whether they stayed a night in Penang, I don't actually know, but pretty quickly, I believe, they flew again by Malayan Airways over this spine of mountain and hilly region across here over to the east coast and Kota Bharu itself. You can see here how close Kota Bharu is to the Siamese border. There you can see the airport, the Kota Bharu airport, and just south of that airport, is the Malayan Teachers Training College, founded the year before Burgess got there in *54. You can see also on this map the beach of passionate love. This is where Burgess and Lynn used to go to swim in the China Sea. Burgess translates this, as you can see the Malay is Pantai Cinta Berahi. Burgess translates this as the beach of irregular lust. And this is where Fenella's test of Crabbe's love for her is undertaken in the novel The Enemy in the Blanket. This is also where Burgess explains in his autobiography the local women from the kampong, the nearby kampong, are delighted in fondling Burgess's genitals to verify that they were the same as other men's. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. So that's Kota Bharu. I should explain that while they were in Kota Bharu, while Burgess was doing his teacher training, they spent 1 whole month in Kuala Lumpur. And this was part of Burgess's duties, the supervising of teaching practice. So they flew from Kota Bharu to Kuala Lumpur, and this is where Burgess had obviously not such a pleasant experience. His wife took, as you know, Burgess and Lynn had a very open marriage, and Lynn took up with a Eurasian man of supreme sexual skill, and after bedding him several times, volubly explained to Burgess that his skills in the marriage bed were greatly inferior to this Eurasian man's. This obviously Burgess found slightly disconcerting, but I mean, what do you expect if you have this kind of open marriage? But still, anyway, Burgess was not very pleased by this, and he sought solace with a Malay prostitute that he found in Kuala Lumpur. But this was not a happy experience. This was not the experience of ecstasy and elation that he enjoyed with a Chinese lady of the night in Singapore on his first night in the East. This was obviously a slightly infelicitous experience. That's the sense I get from the autobiography anyway. So after a month of this teaching practice in Kuala Lumpur, during which incidentally Burgess drank extremely heavily and hardly ate, and was subsisting again on this concoction of his, this mixture of brandy and Brand's chicken essence. They returned, they flew back to Kota Bharu, and then they came to the end of their tour, and then it was all flying from there. It was once again flying back to Kuala Lumpur, and then taking that was by Malayan Airways, and then taking the BOAC, British Overseas Airways Corporation, flight to London via Colombo, and Burgess explains the Middle East. I mean, there was a night stop in Colombo apparently, and then there were various stops in the Middle East, or I would imagine not more than 2 stops in the Middle East. Probably Beirut at that time, 57 I would imagine. So there it is. I'm delighted to have you with us here for this short lecture on the Malay Peninsula geography of Anthony Burgess.